front to back. Attack, a 67. And he's a word. The flash given a thousands. Casino would become champions of 67. And he's a word. The flash given a thousands. Casino would become champions. Good evening everybody and welcome to Celtic Rumours TV, episode number 198 of the Bawz and Bovril podcast. Myself, Mark. Tonight we've got Big Jerry with us. How you doing, Jerry, bud?
Living the dream, my man. Living the dream. Yourself?
I'm the same, man. I can't believe how lucky I am at times. We've got Terence with us tonight as well. Evening, Terence. How are you?
How are you going, lads? All good in yourselves?
We're all doing well. Just
good stuff.
Waiting in Santa coming.
Excellent.
This is a podcast for forum, but over at www.celticrumours.co.uk. Everybody's more than welcome over there. The link to that and everything, our Discord and stuff like that is in the description box below. We'll be finishing up the next few days anyway, but we're in our 8th year of collecting money for the Hamilton Food Bank this year. So far, it just shows you, this just actually does show you, but it's £637, which is brilliant, fantastic, but it's lower than we've collected over the past years, and it really does show you that a lot of people that usually have disposable income and that really, they've no go to it this year. It's really important that we try and help the people that are kind of less fortunate than myself. If you can afford to get in, the link for that's in the description box below as well. It was announced at Chapel tonight that all in we've collected over a ton of food just in December, which is amazing. I mean, a ton of food, that's amazing when you actually think you try and picture that. And over the money we've collected and everything else, I think it's just under £1,200 they got this year as well, so that's a really great effort.
Feed Chris Boyd for a night.
Aye. A few shout outs for the guys for the forum and that, Paul, Jerry McGinn, Old Tim Alloy, JFP, Mikey, B John United Ireland, Big Jabber, Kev, Welshie, Malika, TB off the Discord. Hope you're keeping me a bit better, TB. Who we got in the comments? Bobby would have been in first. Evening, Bobby, Jerry, San Francisco, nice to see you. Evening, Grot Bags. Got a question to ask you, I know about this, by the way, about this Christmas nonsense. Evening, Brian, Cameron, nice to see you, mate. Alex Forsyth, nice to see you in again, bud. Right, before we start about the football, is a fridge freezer an acceptable Christmas present for your wife?
100%, mate. Definitely. That's Christmas and birthday. It's a fridge and a freezer,
I was going to just get the fridge and get the freezer for her birthday, but we need to wait till July.
Mate, I still get pelters for getting her wheel trims for her first motor for Christmas. I thought it was quite good, you know what I mean? So that's a fridge freezer's all right. And wheel trims I thought was quite thoughtful. Do you know what I mean? She needed them for a wee puddle jumper motor. Definitely.
Wheel trims.
Don't forget Henke. It's not been the same in that Discord without Henke.
Aye, but he's back on now.
I know, thank God he's back on. It's been Bobby's been traumatised.
Aye, I don't know. Aye, Bobby was missing him a bit, wasn't he?
Aye.
He must be working the night, or he'd be maybe in the chat.
Aye, he'll be on it. It's a Saturday night.
Well, we might as well start with last Sunday.
How what happened?
That's us officially now. We're the most successful club in the universe.
I thought you were going to say the world. I was going to say the universe had that. Aye, it's been Listen, it's been fantastic, man. It's been the best week ever. We've ripped the soul right out of them by a penalty. I mean, let's be honest. That was never a penalty in a month of Sundays. Never a penalty. Would you have given him a penalty for that?
No.
Nah,
And that's
definitely
the thing.
no.
See, even the likes of Colum and that in community saying they should have hit. I honest to God don't think it was a penalty.
Nah, I would give a light to that corner, so it
What about you,
doesn't matter.
Keir?
If boys to get shot.
I, to be honest, Mark, I didn't think it was initially a penalty. Now, I didn't know the rule that apparently if the foul happens outside the box, if they pull into the jersey and it continues into the box, that it is a penalty.
How does that make sense?
Oh, I get it. I saw that the other day because Peter Grant was talking on that Go Radio. So that was
I heard that myself, mate.
And it was very good in fairness because the guy who came on was arguing 2 points which were stupid. One was the penalty and one was saying that Kuhn tripped up your man, which he didn't. But Peter Grant was going, well, why didn't VAR look at Jetter's basically a red card on Kuhn, he says. And your man was arguing about something, saying your man's only 20, and Peter Grant let fly, basically saying, you're basically on the here, but you only want to make a decision that involves Rangers. You're happy enough for the other ones to be okay. So he says, if you're going to argue the point about VAR, argue the point properly about VAR. Argue it across the board.
Correct.
And he was 100%, because if you freeze frame that tackle on Kuhn with VAR, your man is above his ankle, on his Achilles, the ball is nowhere near him. That's why the likes of Yang got a red card that time, and you see most of the red cards. So, like,
Terry was right in what he said. See the boy Jeff?
He's 100% right, Jerry.
He was trying to do the dirty and get him lay down a marker early doors or try and Fleming put him out the game completely. It was an old-fashioned type of tackle. You just try to leave something on him.
Yeah.
But he should have. It's tackles like that nowadays they're looked at them as sending off. So they've got nothing. I wouldn't bother. It's been just fantastic.
No.
Just keep telling them it was never a penalty, man. They're all going after nut.
But the thing about it is, Jerry, that I don't understand is, like, they're going on about it was a penalty. They're saying it should have been a penalty. Blah blah blah. If it was or if it wasn't, a penalty does not mean a goal.
Casper would have saved it.
Aye.
They still have to convert it. And at the end of the day, like, I mean, you could go back through donkeys of times where penalties were given. Willie Collum gave a penalty in Parkhead where he said he heard the tackle. He didn't see the tackle, but Broadfoot dived, but he thought he had heard the tackle.
Yep.
So, I heard people saying they want the game replayed and all, and you're going like, I'd have to agree with Jerry, like, it's better. That's probably better than Celtic winning 3-2.
Aye.
Because they've absolutely lost the plot, like.
Aye, Jerry. See beating them like that. It's worth it.
They've lost the plot, like.
It's better than going out and pumping them 5 or 6-0.
100%.
I mean, the game itself, the way that they lost it and with this penalty stuff and all that was bad enough. But because with this trophy haul overtaking them to rub even more salt in the wounds, I mean, they're angrier. They've been angrier this week than they were in 2012 when they get liquidated.
I mean,
they're angrier
family
this week.
parties.
I know, what about that? The boy that spoiled the family party and all that. I hope it spoiled their Christmas.
The drums had a doing, the Christmas
and everything.
Been smashed. Brilliant.
But the thing about it as well, Mark, is
the Wayne's presents are sent back.
But the thing about it as well, Mark, is, like, again, this is only my opinion. To me, they played as good as they could possibly play. They nullified a couple of Celtics players. Celtic played quite poorly and still won.
Mm-hmm.
They must have been walking off that going, how did we lose the game? They played as good as they played against Celtic in a long time. Whatever they've done, Mark McGregor was quiet. A lot of players were poor. A lot of Celtic players were off the ball, weren't exactly on their top form. But Celtic still won. They can't play any better than that, Rangers. Celtic were probably 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 maybe.
Welcome to the 90s for a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's roles reversed, Jerry, 100%. How many games did you watch where Celtic battered Rangers for a game, and next minute someone like Rod Wallace would stand up and poke one in, or Loudon would poke one in, or someone they'd score, and you'd go off the game going like an antichrist, going, how did they lose that 1-0?
Exactly.
And just
exactly.
and karma's great, and it's great that it's finally turned around, and maybe all these years of them doing what they've done with paying the tax evasions and all these other things, maybe it's finally turned around, and they're getting a taste of their own medicine, what it's like for things not to go all your own way.
We had to take it and listen to other nonsense about these decisions, even ourselves out of the course of the season. So, I mean, they'll probably get a penalty when we play them, but by that time we should be about 3 or 4-0 up. So, I'm not too worried.
They're definitely going to get a penalty. They're definitely going to get a penalty, Jerry, in the next game. That's a given. They could have Stevie Wonder in the middle of the park, and they're going to get a penalty in the next game.
Yep.
Do you think so?
Okay.
Aye.
Oh, I think it's nailed on. Nailed on. Like as soon as Marcus England, it's smallest bit.
It'll need to be a stone waller, but
it won't. It don't. I can guarantee you, Mark. As soon as there's an ounce of even inside the box where you have a corner, and they do all the tussling and pulling and dragging and holding on to each other and all that, one of them will go down. Excuse the terminology. One of them will go down like a bag of shit, and the referee will go straight to the spot. I'd say it's as nailed on. I'd be the same. I'd be from full agreement with Jerry. I'd say it's a nailed on given.
Yep.
I just think with the spotlight that's been on that the penalty for them all week, unless it is an absolute stick on, it's just going to keep the argument. Do you know what I mean? Because then again, the kind of even then Celtic can bite back. Do you get what I mean? If it's no a stone
avoid
waller.
The game.
Yeah, but the thing is, Celtic don't.
The Celtic media guys like your Peter Grant and that, they can start harping on about it again. Do you know what I mean?
But Celtic won't go to the levels that Rangers go to, Mark.
Down to 1982 when the Pope came.
Aye.
We've infiltrated everywhere. We're now the establishment club. We're running everything. Lowell's, this and that. So they'll definitely get a penalty, but we should be about 3 or 4-1 up by there, nothing up by then.
They're the most paranoid. They're so paranoid now, it's unbelievable. Like, they are seriously paranoid now. Like anything that goes against them, it's automatically like everyone's against us. This is all Celtic's fault. Celtic don't even have to be playing Rangers, and it's their fault. That's how bad it's gone, I reckon.
Aye.
Evening,
Rod. Nice to see you in again, mate. Thanks for coming in. Ciao, pal, as well. Cheers, bud.
We've all benefited from decisions that we probably shouldn't have got over the years, but no more so than them. I mean, do you remember the one Marco Lennon at Ibrox brought down?
Yeah.
And they tried to say that he wasn't in control of the ball. He knocks the ball past the boy, and no contact with the ball, just takes him out. And they were trying to justify it by saying, but he wasn't going to catch the ball. In
that same game, Jerry, Maloney was the same. Maloney went around someone right at the edge of the box, nearly the same position, and was cleavered down. And
exactly.
Look, you can go. You could go back to even without the penalties. You could go back to the time I watched Robbie Keane playing, and is it Bugera? Is that his name? There, centre back.
Aye.
He literally kicked him off the park. He tackled him about 3 or 4 times from behind, and all it was a free kick every time. And they were late. They were high. So it's just in their head now at this stage. It's great.
Well, I mean, look how long they went without conceding a penalty.
They went the whole season or two, didn't they?
But it was nearly a world record. The only team that went longer was Barcelona during the time that they're getting investigated for match fixing.
Since they've had VAR, they've never conceded a penalty, the Huns. Is that right?
Oh no, they've conceded penalties now. Aye.
Have they? Aye.
Aye, I'm sure they have. Aye. But there was, it was maybe even our 2 seasons turns and they didn't concede a single penalty. And the amount of penalties that they were getting, which also seems to have dried up as well this season. The kind of even soft penalties. I mean, it's just they're just trying to grasp onto anything to kind of take the pain away from what happened last Sunday and this penalty thing. And For me, the SFA, they should have just batted it right out the water and just said the game's over and done with. We'll talk about the VAR decisions will get spoke about like in due course whenever Colin does it and all that kind of thing. But again, for me, nobody's actually come out and explained why it is a penalty. They're just saying, oh, it is, and Rangers should have got it. But in my eyes, I don't think it was a penalty. I really don't.
They're saying that they're saying it on the line is in the box, Mark. That's what they're saying. They're saying if the foul occurs on the line is deemed to be in the box.
Aye, but was the foul no before his foot was on the line?
It was, but what they're saying now is
the initial foul on him.
But apparently what the rule is now is that if the initial foul takes place outside the box, as again, this is not me, I only heard this when Peter Grant was talking, that if the initial tug is taken outside the box and it continues into the box, or i.e. on the box as they deem the white line, it's deemed a penalty. It's not where before the initial pulling and dragging used to be outside the box, and if it went another yard or two, it would be a free kick. This is apparently what a rule change, or it could be in the last few years. I wouldn't be up to speed on it, but this is what they were saying the other day on that Go Radio. Even Peter Grant didn't realise that was the case. You know, but
I can't
anyway,
understand that rule either.
It doesn't make any sense.
The box it continues, then it's where it's last instead of where it first happened. It doesn't.
Yeah, well, the argument to me, the point I would make on that then, Jerry, is so if you're 2 yards outside the box and a fella's pulling and dragging you, if I was the forward, you'd be doing your power to pull him. You'd be doing your power to pull him into the box with you, and then go, well, I'm in the box when I went down. It has to be a penalty, but I guarantee it wouldn't be given.
No.
You know, but Mark, sorry, they think that they're all going mental about and all this stuff and the penalty, and they're saying all the penalties and all this, the penalty should have been this. Thank God I'm not. But if I was a Rangers supporter, I'd be more annoyed with, why do you send up the left? Why did you send up the sub full back to take a penalty? And there's supposedly star strikers powering back.
The goalkeeper even stepped up, Butland.
Yeah, Butland stepped up. I don't know what that full back guy is, the guy who missed the penalty. But yes, you have Dessers and you have whoever it's Conor Barron, or particularly Dessers. He's a centre forward. They're letting a sub full back go up and take a penalty. If you're one of their fans, should be more annoyed about your players hiding down there going, oh, he was number 6 to take it. He was, yeah. Easy say you were number 6 when the penalties are over. Like,
if you're a big game player, you're stepping up to the.
You're taking the ball, Mark.
Aye.
Look at all the players that went up for Celtic. McGregor, Engels, who was at fault for a goal.
Even
Hatate.
Hatate, who's not been playing well. Engels, that's been a bit struggling for confidence and to find form in that. But every Celtic penalty was well hit. It really was.
Yeah.
I said on the live chat and that, and I said I was confident of Casper being able to save one, but I wasn't too confident if other players were going to score. But every single one of them, there was no qualms about them. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully that's something that we've kind of buried in the past now. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of our heart was in the myth, even just not a player sure about any penalty.
Because you even hear the nonsense that they were going on, that I heard when there was the argument about their players who took it, or some of the players who they were talking about should have taken a penalty. They'd only come on as subs. They were only on for about 15, 20 minutes. You're asking him to kick a ball 12 yards. That's all you're asking. You're asking so a professional football player needs to be on for longer than 10 or 15 minutes to take a penalty. Seriously, 2 of the Celtics subs took penalties, Ida and Engels, have both scored.
No, that's
so. Grasping for straws if I've ever seen it.
American football puts that to shame right away, didn't it? They bring
on the kicker.
They bring on a player to kick kings. I don't know if the rugby maybe do that. I know sometimes.
Yeah, no, they're not normally in the rugby union. They wouldn't, but in American football, it's but Mark, any player was on the pitch there for 10 or 15 minutes. In a lot of cases, Mark, teams might bring on a player with 7 or 8 minutes to go if he's a good penalty taker, so he can take a penalty. Do you know? When I heard it all, I was thinking, my God, you're grasping at straws. Seriously, why was the player going to take the 6th penalty or the 7th penalty? What difference is taking the 2nd penalty and the 6th penalty? Is he more warmed up 4 penalties later? Is he? Really?
No, but that's weird. But you're saying like that, especially Dessers, the striker.
This is when That's the one I'm talking about. They were saying he was going to be number 6, and the question was, why wasn't he? And they were saying, he wasn't on that long enough. But you just said he was going to take number 6. So if he's going to take number 6, has he got really, really warm from number 2 to number 6?
Quite right.
Just anything. They're just grasping at anything, trying to take it. I mean, all this talk about replays and that, it's absolute nonsense. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's never, ever anything like that going to happen, or a mistake or a penalty or something like that.
Mark, Scottish football season would never end if that was the case.
I mean, but even at that, I mean, even UEFA would step in if anything like that was even getting thought about getting happening. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but you know, I mean,
imagine Scotland done that, right? It would be a laughing stock of football. It would just show that we were even more backwater than the rest of the world sees. But imagine the kind of connotations of that across Europe and places like that. Anytime there's a penalty decision that goes against you and you can prove it's wrong, you get the game replayed.
But that's what playing, Mark. You see, the football season would never end. It would never end.
When Aberdeen get denied the 2 Stonewallers last season.
I know.
Shakir and all that shit. So it's fantastic.
That's the thing.
Bamming them up.
That's it. But even that, Jerry, right? And this is the thing. And I put it on the forum the other day. Evening, Patrick McLaughlin. Nice to see you in again, mate.
Hail, mate.
And I put it on the forum again the other day. We want, right? Basically, we want the same thing. All it is, us and Dame, according to him, we want impartial, fair refereeing. So,
you said that for a couple of years, Mark, though.
So why can the fucking two, if that's what the two biggest clubs in Scotland want, all the rest of them will definitely want it as well. I don't imagine any club, but they're no wanting impartial refereeing. They want to get back to the way it was. That's what they're wanting. They're wanting to get back to the way it was when things were all going their way. That's what they're fighting to get back to. They're not looking for impartial referees. They're looking for referees that they can influence, whether it's directly or indirectly. They want to get back to the wee happy status quo where the referees all looked after Rangers.
In the lodge.
Yeah. Did you ever see the someone had a clip? I think it was someone. I must see if I can find it. And it was all the penalty incidents over the last number of years in Ibrox. And Alan Stubbs was talking. I don't know if either of the two of you have ever heard it. And it could have been the Lennon one now that you're talking about, or something like that. And Stubbs said he went mad at the referee and he ran after him, and he said he was basically asking why it wasn't a penalty and with a lot more colourful language. And the referee apparently turned to him and says, as long as I'm refereeing Celtic and Rangers, he says, I'll never give Celtic a penalty.
I've heard that before, Ter, but I can't remember who he was talking about.
He didn't name the referee.
It would have been.
Yeah, it would have been. I think it was the Lennon one. I'm not sure, 100% sure. Or it could have been the Kanye one. It was one of them, but Stubbs was playing the game and he said that, and the referee said to him, as long as I'm refereeing Celtic and Rangers, he says, I'll never give Celtic a penalty.
I mean, their mentality is, even if we went down the road, they're bringing in like foreign referees, right? We could go and get, right, the Derby in the 2nd of January, bring in the best refereeing team they've got in Italy. Right away, you know what they're coming out with.
He's Catholic.
Aye. Do you get what I mean? That's just the kind of mentality they've got.
But Mark, I'd say if you brought in a Belgian...
Top Spanish referees, and it'd be the same thing. Do you know what I mean? That's their mentality.
Yeah. But if you brought in any referee, Mark, and he did make a dodgy decision against him, and he was a UEFA referee, they'd just say, "Oh, Peter Law was involved in UEFA." That's what it would be like. It literally would. They'd have a way of twisting it, like.
Aye. Who cares, man? Just keep rumping it right into them. It's fantastic. I don't know how many houndos now think my opinion is relevant when I'm getting texts after I've never spoke to them in a long time, wanting to know if I think it was a penalty or no. It's been fantastic to think that they actually think my opinion's worth something. So when we get to 120, then 121, 122, and I'm reminding them, I'll let them know that my opinion means something to them. It's fantastic. Just keep laughing.
You should nearly just keep replying. You should keep replying, Jerry. Oh, it's a Stonewall penalty.
Aye.
That would just drive them bananas.
there's other ones that you need to say, nah, it's never a penalty, because you can see the blood vessels ready to explode in their heads. So it's fantastic. But you say a lot of them, their Wayne's Christmas presents have been put out of the camp. The Christmas tree's out the window already. So it's great fun. Great fun.
It's been some meltdown for a week. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to keep rolling on to the 2nd of January, and then I mean,
their Christmas parties are getting round. Their family parties will be getting round.
Do you know what I mean? I'm expecting us to go to Ibrox and beat them. Do you know what I mean? And that'll be. I mean, again, there'll be some other excuse, but they're just nothing. They've got nothing left. They've got nothing left to cling on to.
Busted flush. We know that they're going to set up the exact same way again. That's the only way they'll be able to play against us, is try and nullify McGregor in the middle of the park. But we can't be man for man. I don't think we can be much worse. If you look at the goals,
think about throwing wee McCower in there, but do you know what I mean? A wee terrier or that in that
McCown
midfield.
and Bernardo McGregor would be starting for me. Tati's been mincemeat to see. Listen, see if we get a bid off Tottenham. I don't think it'll happen. I think he's playing at his optimum. I don't think he could step up. Tati. If we get an offer from Tottenham in January, I'd take it for him.
It was a strange decision by the manager to leave him on and take off Bernardo, to be honest.
Yep. Well, Bernardo and McCown would be starting for me in the middle of that park. Both legs, good engines, and they've both got
good tackling, good physical. They're physical as well, though, Jerry. Yep. Like Bernardo's a physical player. I like McGowan, but I think he's very good, and he should start a lot more than he does. I think there's the fact that shouldn't be held against him, but I think because he's Scottish, if he wasn't McGowan from Dundee, he was someone else from Benfica, like Bernardo, he'd probably start more than he does. People don't give him as much. He doesn't seem to be getting the credit he deserves when he does play. Like,
he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Tell me this. This is a weird one. See the no Taylor. What's happening? How is he getting a game ahead of Baye? What is going on? But I mean, I struggle to understand how he gets any time that Baye comes on, he's a better option for me. And for letting us to go into Taylor's the last 6 months his contract, he could go and sign with somebody before we play them. How's he starting ahead of Baye?
I think for that reason, though. That's it, Jerry. I think that's 100% the two reasons why. I think one, they want Taylor to sign, so that's why they keep playing him. And two, because your man is going to be probably gone to Barcelona in January. If I imagine that if he goes in January and he had been playing all along and Taylor hasn't been playing, does Taylor getting a huff and in a sense down tools, and all of a sudden you've got no full back?
I know, but
Paul told me the other week at Barcelona I've got a Polish left back lined up for January. So Baye, I think Baye will still be here.
Well, why are they not playing him? Taylor's not going to sign a new deal. If you're looking to improve,
I mean, Taylor was honking last Sunday.
The pass was terrible. You could see the pass a mile away, like a mile away.
It was real. I mean, we all know I back Taylor and that, but over the last few months,
come off the ball.
I can't back him because his performances have just went right down the scale. Now, I'm not saying his effort's dropped off.
This is going to happen when you let somebody into the last year of the contract and they're still playing. It's human nature. This whole shit's going to be in the back of his mind. About see if he gets injured, what happens to him? Or it's going to affect him. That's who he shouldn't have been allowed to be our first choice left back in the last year of his contract. And the boy buys a far better player all round.
But shouldn't have been that position in this position, Jerry.
100%, mate, definitely. But regardless what happens, I would have Taylor over Kieran Tierney. If that's,
I know.
I'm thinking, but I'm hoping and thinking it's pie in the sky.
What
him
about,
coming back in January.
what about using the chat with us to talk about KT coming back? I mean, I've said it before. Personally, I'm 100,000,000% against it. I just
Agreed.
don't see any. I don't see any.
There's no logic to it at all.
No, there's no logic to it. If it wasn't Kieran Tierney and he played for Celtic fans would be up merrims if we were trying to sign a guy with his injury problems and that over the last few years.
See, Kieran Tierney's age, now, he should have really been getting a massive contract from one of the biggest teams about. But Arsenal are looking to offload him with taking up his extra year in his deal. And if he was going to stay fit, he's a fantastic left back, but he cannot stay fit. So what's the point of signing somebody that's no going to be playing? And you can't hit me with this shite about, we'll keep him for all the big games. What? How's that going to work out? Because he's not going to be match fit and match sharp. And B, do you think you're going to have somebody else who's just going to come in and think, it's all right, I'll play the lesser games. But they've got KT to come in and play the big games.
But he can't do that. That's the problem is you'd bring him back to Celtic if they did, and he'd wind up being James McCarthy Part 2.
Hold on 2 seconds. Surely to God we've not got Hundo Lurkers in here, have we?
Aye, one of them popped up there.
Superb. Don't ban them, keep them in. Keep them in. If you're all listening, we're all laughing and it was never a penalty. But I wouldn't. Pat's saying about Paul McLaughlin, Sir P. McLaughlin saying take KT in January for 6 months to see how he holds up. I just think the boy's going to be injury prone no matter what.
But then you have 3 full backs, left fulls that are all potentially could leave together. Tierney will go back to Arsenal. Taylor's, for argument's sake, doesn't sign a new contract, and Voy goes back to Barcelona. There's no logic to it whatsoever. If Celtic are going to get a left back in January, it needs to be Goya permanent. That if Taylor does go and the lad goes back to Barcelona, they still have someone there. It's very, very simple.
I just think it goes against everything that we've done as a club to build up the kind of transfer system that do you know what I mean?
Was it no flip?
For me, it stinks of a kind of Peter Lowell type of deal if KT or Celtic are back in for KT. 100%. That's the kind of thing I would think. I mean, it's just not the type of player Celtic go for.
But as you said, Marco, or somebody flip-flop, I think it was, or somebody said in the Discord, it smacks of Lowell trying to flip and say we've got a £20 million player for nada.
Aye.
But do you think though that, and I do think this, but do you think that, like, I think Rodgers has a lot more input nowadays than maybe before. And I think it's more of a case of he seems to have a lot more say of what's happening, who's coming in and who's, to me, no, maybe I'm wrong, but I couldn't see a reason why he would think that Kieran Tierney is a good sign at all.
No, even this new guy that's Dr. Football, Tisdale. I mean, even him, if we're bringing him in to kind of help us and help us find and discover players and all that, how are we discovering KT? Surely with the money we've got in the bank, there's got to be a better option out there for Celtic to go out there and invest some money in a position, and then in 2 years' time we're selling them for KT type of money. Do you know what I mean?
Mark, there's probably a better option playing in the Scottish League at the minute.
Sorry, Ter, what you saying, mate?
There's probably a better option in the Scottish League at the minute than Kieran Tierney.
I don't know about that. No, don't know about that.
There probably is, in a sense, that Jerry, that they'll be able to at least walk onto a pitch anyway.
There's something that's going to be fit. The Bawz, that man, I'm telling you, that I think with a run of games, he'll be a right good player.
I mean, and how he says, he's going back to Barcelona. Will Barcelona keep? It's a bit like the CCV thing at Spurs. Did you keep adding a year's to his contract? I think it's just eventually they'll sell him, but it make sure they're getting money for him. But I mean, players have came to Celtic before and kind of fell in love with the place. who's to say that come the summer, Baye maybe no say? Here, I would move here. If you can agree a fee with Barca, I'll be quite happy to come here. If they're playing in the Champions League for us, winning trophies, playing in front of their fans and stuff, seeing how the team is like a unit, is how well they get on and plays a unit and all together as a team. Do you get what I mean? You could have fell in love with the place.
And
Evening, Strangelove, nice to see you, pal. Thanks for coming in. James McGrory, nice to see you as well, mate.
And as well, Marcus, you just said there that a while ago that Paul said that they're supposed to be signing a Polish fullback. If he goes back to Barcelona and he's not getting games, he could be loaned out again. He could be loaned out to, say, someone at the bottom tier of the Spanish league. And all of a sudden, like you said, he's gone from there to playing Champions League football, to be winning trophies, in front of, a big crowd, and especially Champions League games. So, yeah, maybe he could be. It could be a case where he's going, and maybe it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Even for
another 12 months.
But I mean, obviously, you keep saying him like a 4 or 5 year contract. But even as a player himself, just what we do with any young player we sign terms, you play well. If you get offers in, we'll not stand in the way of you getting on to better your career. I mean, other young. I mean, it's like the boys obviously dreaming about playing for Barcelona and running out of the Nou Camp and all that kind of thing and all that. There's no many other clubs about the place that he's going to get picked up, where he's running out in front of 60,000 fans in the Champions League and stuff like that. I mean, it could turn his head. And you'd like to think that at least Celtic are even trying to have a wee kind of coax him into it. Do you know what I mean? Trying to talk him into it and having a word with his agent and stuff like that, just to see if there is any chance of it happening. I agree with Jerry. I think he's got to be a cracking player a day. I really do. Whether it's at Celtic or somewhere else.
Give him offering the same as we've done with the Crosas, with the buyback. They can buy him back for whatever X amount of money if they're unsure about totally. Like, I don't know if they're just either looking for cash for him because they're allegedly so skint, or they actually think he can go.
Saying that, I know they need to kind of make sure they're not losing any money on assets and stuff because of other finances and that.
That's it. So if they're really worried about maybe that. That he's going to turn into some sort of player, give them a deal where they've got a certain amount they can buy him back for, like we've done with Crosas.
Yeah, give him the first refusal or whatever they call it.
Somebody. Sorry?
I said, like, give him first refusal, as you said, Jerry.
Exactly, that's it. And then take it from there. Because we've done it with Encham, I think, was it no, when he came for Man City or Frimpong, one of them. And I think we've done the exact same with Crosas when he came for Barca as well.
Well, Celtic had it obviously with Jota, and they had it with Bernardo, and certainly with the Jota one, and probably the Carter Vickers one as well. It was kind of like the fees agreed beforehand, and Celtic have kind of first refusal, so to speak, if they want to sign him or not. It depends if the player wants to stay or not is another issue, but that's separate.
That's it. So no, I think he'll be cracking shout, and there's no way that. I just cannot see. I think it's pie in the sky about KT. I really do. But as I say, I've said it for yonks. Taylor shouldn't have been able to get in this position, and we know that know how hard he tries, and it'll be affecting him, and it'll be playing in the back of his mind. And how we're allowing one of our first team starters to be playing when they can go and sign for somebody on the 1st of January. It would 100% should be happening. But then again, if KT signs, I think it was Henke that said it first, man, way back in August. So it was a good guess.
Do you think maybe the left back situation, whatever maybe going to be happening in January? I don't know if the stories are true about Dane Murray getting called back. Do you think that's maybe got something to do with?
I don't think so. Maybe they're going to just have a look at him. We'll wait and see.
Means that Casey, maybe Taylor's going to move. Taylor's going to move on in January for a nominal fee.
I think he's away in January.
We're going to have Baye and young Dane Murray as a backup for the rest of the season.
January. But I genuinely think Taylor's away in January. If he's not, if he's not signed his contract.
Is he a centre back? I thought Dane Murray was a left back.
He only played centre back. He definitely played centre back.
Who's the young? Who am I thinking? Who's the young left back?
Frame. Aye. Cameron's hit it. It's Frame. It's the left back. Aye.
Right.
So no, you don't need to worry about that. No. So now you're talking shite, Matt. You're fine.
No, I knew we'd a young boy, a young guy that was kind of highly rated. That's how I knew that. I don't know why I thought it was that boy then.
No.
Well, that's even weirder then. So why they calling him back?
No idea. But then we got to get right through the team after last week. I mean, Tati should have been. I would have started with the next game against the Huns. I wouldn't be starting with Tati. I'd be starting with Bernardo.
I wouldn't be starting with him the Mora.
No, well, that's
what's your team for the Mora?
For tomorrow, I'd go with goalkeeper takes care of itself. I'm going with Baye, as always, at left back for me. Centre halves, Trusty and Vickers. Right back, Vage's alright. It's him. Then my three midfielders, Bernardo, McGregor and McCowan. But I think Engels is maybe just, it was going to happen to take a wee dip. He's only a young boy coming into a new environment and all the rest of it. Each time. McCowan, and then obviously your Maeda, Kuhn, and I would go with Kyogo up top.
What about you, Claire?
Kyogo, I'd be going with Aida as well. Did I say Kyogo or Aida up front?
You said Kyogo.
No, I'd be going with Aida up front. It's just when I seen P. McLaughlin, I'm thinking, fucking talking shite.
Well, I suppose I'll say the team that I think he's going to play, not necessarily the team that I would play, but I think he's going to go with, obviously, kid like that, the keeper keeps himself. I think he's going to play Taylor. I think he's going to play Scales. I think he's going to play Vickers. And if Johnson is fit, that's the back four. Obviously, McGregor. I think he's going to play McGregor, Bernardo, and Hitata. And the front three would be Kun, Maeda, and I think he's going to start with Ida. That would be the team I think he's going to start with.
I would have
not the team I would necessarily play, but I think it's the team he would start with.
Well, I think it'll be Casper. I think he'll go Taylor, Scales, Carter, Vickers, and I think it'll be Ralston. I think he'll just even give AJ the day off kind of thing after taking that again. Do you know what I mean? The midfield, McGregor, McCowan. I think McCowan will start, but just because it's an tough away Scottish game, we need a bit of dig in the midfield. And Bernardo, and obviously up front, Kyogo, Kuhn, Maeda, and I think he'll start Kyogo, but I'd go with Ida as well.
No, I would go with Ida.
I think he deserves a start.
Talking about forwards and all that, now, would you bring back that boy Kenny in January to have a look at him?
Definitely. Well, is that no his loan up anyway?
He's back in January anyway.
Aye, I think that's his January. Aye.
So we'll really get a look at him.
Aye.
See how they'll no doubt play a couple of bounce games to see what he's like anyway.
Aye. Well, the one thing I would definitely say is that he obviously they have to have a look at him because he's banging in the goals for Shamrock Rovers and he's scoring in Europe. You can say what you want about conference leagues and all the rest of it. He's scored in Europe.
Aye.
But what I would hope is that if he does come back and Celtic don't think they're going to use him, that they let him go back to Shamrock Rovers. That's what I would hope. If they're not going to use him, if they don't think they're going to use him.
I mean, I'm telling you, I've said it before. I don't think there's that much of a difference between the top League Island teams and like the bottom and middling SPL teams.
Not with the likes of Shamrock Rovers, Mark. Shamrock Rovers, maybe the likes of Dundalk and that. There's 2 or 3 sides there that they're majority of the side, if not all the side, are professional. So I'd agree with you to that extent that
it's a decent level. It's a decent level he's scoring goals at. It's not as if he's away down in the 4th division in England. Do you know what I mean? Just banging in against amateurs. I think Kenny deserves a chance, 100%.
They definitely compete with the bottom half of the SPL. I fully agree with you there. I said, look, Shamrock Rovers, Mark, at the end of the day, they're winning games in the Europe in the Conference League. So
They would need to bring him back, have a look at him, and no doubt lower him to an SPL side. Because I don't think he's going to go for playing there straight into coming off the bench and doing something for us. It'd be all right if you get a 6-month loan up here in the SPL to get used to it, and then maybe come the summer, he's maybe ready to go to try and do something. It'd be good to see him. Hopefully he does something. He makes it.
Starts in that. I mean, he definitely knows where the goal is. Do you know what I mean? And I've said on it, I don't, Terence, maybe you kind of know better. What actual type of striker is he?
He to be honest, Mark, he's who would remind you of? He'd remind you of like kind of he wouldn't be a fella that, you know, he's not a Chris Sutton, put it that way. He'd be a bit more mobile and link up play and stuff like that. But what he does, Mike, he scores a lot of goals in the box. He scores a lot of goals in the box. Do you know what I mean? He mightn't do a huge amount outside it necessarily, but he makes good runs and he's a good finisher. He does a lot of his damage in the box. There was probably very little of it outside the box, but then again, they're the kind of strikers that you want. You know what I mean?
A kind of poacher, Terence, but if like Gary Hooper, if the ball's falling at his
exactly
feet, 9 times out of 10, he's getting it on target.
Yeah, he's got an eye for the goal. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, the lad's scoring. As I said, he's scoring in the Irish League, and more importantly, he's scoring in Europe. If you can put the ball in the back of the net in Europe,
damage in the box.
But Jerry,
see, he's a bit like yourself. Does a lot of damage in the box.
Aye. Strange love, that's been in my mind for months. Do you think Rodgers is wasting Kyogo? I think it is. I don't.
Last season we were all saying that we didn't think the wee man was suited for Rodgers type of play. At the start of this season, we all thought, it started to click. He's looking actually back to himself. But Rodgers isn't at fault for him missing umpteen chances.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Johnny.
It's just Kyogo can make some brilliant runs. He can be. He's a clever wee player. Sometimes you can make the runs that others can't see, and I like the way his work ethic and the runs he makes. But I don't know. I would always have an in-running about the team. But Big Ida, I would be starting him more often. It's a good combination to have. I mean, you've got the physicality of Big Ida, and then you've got the runs and all the rest of it that the wee man puts in. So I think it's a good combination to have.
Again, but last Sunday, Kyogo was one of the worst players on the park.
Yep.
But
yep.
Would you put that down to, and I'm not disputing that, Mark, but would you also put that down to like the level of service? Well, Kyogo's one of those strikers that, like, I'm not saying that he does miss a lot of chances, no question about it. I've always said that. But if the service is good to him consistently, he does score goals. Like last week, the service into the centre forwards in general was quite poor. Do you know, Celtic were, you know, and even a couple of weeks before that, Ida started, and he had a nightmare as well. Can't remember the game, but he had a nightmare. He was missing.
But you're saying, Terence, the midfield again. It was down to Terence. It came down to our midfield got overrun in that another game against him. So I know what you're talking about, but so the game's not going Celtic's way. Our midfield's not producing anything. Kyogo's not getting his service. But see, when you saw when Ida came on, but it comes deeper. He's do you know what I mean? We've got an outlet. We can aim up. There's an out ball there. We can aim up for him, kind of thing. It kind of changes the full dynamics of the game. If Celtic's on top and running riot, Kyogo's dynamite. Do you know what I mean? When we've got the midfield's playing brilliant and they're all passing about all the wee fancy passing rhythms that they work out and stuff like that. But when the backs are against the wall and the midfield's not working like it was last Sunday, the striker, it's a totally different concept what we're needing up front for me.
Oh, 100%, Mark, and that's where the manager needs to come in and go, okay, we need to change it round. And because Kyogo in those games like that, Mark, is and does become a passenger. Do you know? And not just in the derby games. There's been plenty of other games like that where you're playing and Celtic just aren't getting any. You know, they're just not getting the ball down and playing it, or they're not necessarily getting the service into the centre forward. That's not Kyogo's forte for kind of holding up the ball and battling and fighting. He's more, as you said, the runs in behind, the runs across the centre halves when the ball's been whipped in left and right. Ida's more your guy to play it up to that. He's obviously, look, he's a much bigger unit, hold it up a lot more physical. So
that's the beauty of being able to have two completely different strikers. Last season, Mark, who was it? Was it Motherwell or Hearts? The game we totally missed out in the midfield where Bawz we played it up to Big Ida, and
Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock. It was Kilmarnock. You're right, and it totally baffled them. Missed out the midfield, played it up to the big man, and we ran riot. Whereas if we're trying to play these wee passes and get the ball in behind, teams can sit in and can make it difficult for us. But you're hoping the likes of his runs are going to panic defenders and stretch him a wee bit. But if he's not getting the service, he can't make these runs. So it becomes hard.
A lot of that too, though, Jerry, was, again, it's credit to the management team. Because the time before that, Kilmarnock beat Celtic in Kilmarnock. I think the first game of that season, or you know, when they were away.
Yep.
And Kilmarnock played that game. They played the big high press up in Celtic to try pressurise them, try not and get the ball out. And like that, all of a sudden Celtic went, if you want to call it, route one, and they were completely cut out. They didn't know whether to go forward. They didn't know where to hang back. So that if they hung back, Celtic played it out. If they pushed forward, Celtic played the long ball to Ida, and Ida tore them apart the same day. So, like, I fully agree with what you're saying, but that's where obviously the manager and the management team come into it, and they read the play, because, like you said, you're guaranteed that in the derby match they're going to set out their stall the exact same way. We're going to contain Callum McGregor, whoever else is in the midfield, try block them. Their wide men are going to leave as soon as the full back gets the ball or the centre back gets the ball, whatever it is. And like that, if you said all of a sudden it's Ida and Carter Vickers gets it, instead of McGregor, it's a route one ball down to him, and everyone, it'll make them think a bit more, you know. So I fully agree with what you're saying there. Like,
see, that'll come down to the European game, was it? We came out in the second half. They kind of had McGregor penned in, and then they kind of dropped Hitati kind of back into more of the same kind of similar role to McGregor, and it relieved the pressure on McGregor and allowed him to play out. But Rodgers will come up with a couple of wee ideas, I'm sure, again, to counter what they're going to do, because there's no other way they can play against us. That's the only way they're going to play. But I think it would be better suited for Ida starting up there. That's for sure.
For Ibrox, I'd definitely go with Ida. Definitely 100%. Yep. Just he gives us that out ball that.
Sometimes that's what you need to see. Take the pass, it's great, but see at the end of the day, see if we've got to go long and get the big man to hold the ball up to get runners, then fair dues. Who cares? It's more about getting the points.
I mean, we've spoke about it, and we see them trying it now and again. At some point in time, Kasper Schmeichel's going to have an assist for Maeda.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So there are times that you do go long. Do you know what I mean? Instead of that, I mean, again, somebody, and see what Strangelove's talking about, they're about lodge ball, the priorities, maintaining control and attacking. See, a lot of the times I've noticed it in the last few games, and that we've given back to just like we're in the 18-year books passing it about for no reason whatsoever.
We've went for a corner, Mark, all the way back to our own keeper.
It's that we need to get back to. I mean, we've saw it in a good few games. Do you know what I mean? We need to get back to that kind of dynamic kind of passing, being quick with passing, making your passing hurt the opposition rather than just passing the ball about for the sake of it again.
Aye. Yep.
Actually, the point you're bringing up there as well, Jerry, sorry, go on to it. They need to brush up massively on the corners and the free kicks. My God, some of them lately, they're not beating the first man. They're terrible. Like,
That does my boxing, mate. I don't understand how we could have a corner and we managed to get pressed all the way back to the ball being back at our keeper from our corner. It's frightening.
well, I don't understand why guys aren't trying to hit. Like, I've never played at a good level of football, so people can correct me if I'm wrong. But you'd always been told kind of hit the penalty spot area with the corners. We seem to be lobbing corners into their keeper's hands or into their first man who's ever on the near post, outside the near post, is clearing the ball. Yep. I don't know, the delivery from the corners and from free kicks. So, and the last good number of games have been very, very poor, I have to say. Yep. Very poor.
That's been going on for a few years, but.
Oh, we had a spell, though, Mark, where this was a spell definitely near the start of the season where even England was taking and stuff like that, where they were decent. But, like, all of a sudden, Bernardo, who's a good crosser of the ball, isn't getting past the first man. Engels isn't getting past the first man. And you're there kind of going, like, you know, also I'd love to see them, not necessarily, I hate short corners, by the way. I absolutely hate them. I just does my nut in. But I wouldn't see a problem with Celtic, instead of a short corner, if, for argument's sake, you was someone like Hutatic can hit the ball, or McGregor, that someone drills the ball out to the edge of the box and lets them let fly or something. Just something different if they want to do it, but the short corners does my nothing, because like that, I said, I agree with Jerry, they do a short corner and it's back to Casper Schmeichel at the half a line and you're going like, oh, that was pointless.
It's a bugbear of mine as well. And it's a thing, I mean, I know some clubs in that have got like set piece specialists, that the coaches that they use in that, but I mean, if I was a manager, I'd kind of, right, I would obviously you'd be working on set pieces, but see, even like free kicks and that, I'd let the players go and use just
think something
fanny about do you know what I mean? Half an hour's training every day, just fanning about trying to embarrass each other doing free kicks. Do you get what I mean? That kind of thing that you can maybe bring into the games and try out. But
like, even if they tried something like, for argument's sake, the way the Dutch scored the last minute equaliser that time against Argentina, where everyone thinks he's going to hit it, he hits it to the side of the wall. Most people never assume that, and your man tries to take a shot or tries to pass it or something. Like, if it's just, even if it didn't work out, I wouldn't necessarily be mad, rather than this aimless fella taking a shot and hits the wall and flies out or just blazes it over. Just try something like that in training, lads. Let's try and think up one or two ways. Just one or two ways of trying something in a free kick. We don't always just have to have an aim that's pointed at, like.
Stand there with their horn or their mouth for 5 minutes talking about it as if it's some great kind of unbroken engineering code they're trying to come up with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then they just bug it.
Aye, and then the next thing it just hits the wall, as you say, just gets skied out the bar.
Because I can't remember the last. No, again, I'd probably be wrong here because I don't have the best memory anymore. But I can't remember the last time they scored directly, like from a free kick, like someone's bent it into the goal. It's probably in the last 2 games, if someone's going to tell me, but I can't remember anyway.
No, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Do you know, I can't remember the last free kick that I've seen them. Someone's just bent one in, and the funny thing is, the likes of Engels, the likes of Bernardo, they've got good legs, good foot in them, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a strange one. I don't know.
In new terms as well, we've got aerial threat in it. We've got an aerial threat in the box, whether it's Big Trusty, whether it's Scales. Do you know what I mean? We've got somebody that these guys that they can aim for, as you says, put the ball into the penalty spot and let guys like Big Scales or Big Trusty try and attack the ball and win it.
Yeah, do you know?
It's no rocket science. Do you know what I mean? They try and come up with all these mad, weird ideas for corners instead of just. I mean, the short corner. What was it he used to say? It helped a better angle. It's a free cross into the box. It didn't nothing to do with angles.
Yep.
No, I don't understand it either myself. And as I said, I would be just saying to them, look, hit the penalty spot. They all seem to be trying to whip the ball into the near post. That's grand, but there aren't any Celtic players near the near post. It's normally one of their defenders that heads it clearly. So, I don't know. I would like to see that improve massively.
You think, look at coach like Rodgers, his level, how meticulous he is with planning and stuff, you think he would be driving? Do you know what I mean? Because if you're good at these kind of set pieces, it's an automatic advantage of your opposition.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
If you're good at set pieces, if you're a danger at corners because you've got a guy that can hit a good ball into the box and you've got somebody like Scales in there, that's something that even can carry on, like, and help you against bigger teams in Europe.
Well, like,
And
Scales scored a header on it.
we're struggling to dominate teams at set pieces in Scotland already.
You know, but you can see when there's a good ball in. Wasn't it Scales scored in the? Wasn't it, he scored a header, a lovely header in one of the Champions League games? Not mistaken. Maybe it wasn't the Champions League game. I thought it was. Do you know? But he scored a cracking header. Do you know? Ball is in. It's not lobbed in the top of the 6-yard box. It's, you know, it's out where there's a battle and they can win the header, like. You know, so I don't know.
Tell me this, Marco, for anybody, how much would you take for Burnaby?
Tenner.
Tenner.
Before he went away, you would have gave him away. I'd have gave him away. You'd have paid the plane fare.
I tell you what,
some of the prices I've seen a bit crazy. I mean, if we're getting that kind of money, fair play.
Unbelievable.
I mean, if you can get 4 or 5 million, even at that, I'm delighted with that.
100%.
As long as we don't lose any money on it, we'll definitely no lose money, because if you guys went out there and ran amok, fair play to him.
They're talking about 8.3 million for him.
Aye.
And you're thinking, what? And he's getting called up to the Argentina squad. I know Mikey had said to you that he'd be some player who'd go over there and tear it up, but how he managed to come to that, I'll never know, because I just thought that he was dug meat.
Players like million, just so Cameron are saying 5.5 million. Getting like the big players of the year teams and all sorts of awards and stuff and everything.
But I suppose it just goes to show you that get a different, like he's obviously, you know, he's Argentinian and obviously going to his own style of football, his own culture, his own everything, obviously suits him massively. Because it's completely
Americans don't mix.
Yeah, it's completely different over here. This maybe obviously the style of play, it could be the pace of play, it could be everything. And he's obviously gone back up there, and obviously whatever his attributes are and whatever way they play suits him down to the ground. And he's a standout. Well, listen, if it means that you can get Lennon Miller from the money, happy days.
There's what Dr. Strangelove's saying there. Do you know what I mean? How much would you pay for the best left back in Brazil this season? Because that's what Alexander was.
It's frightening, honest to God.
I hope here, no matter what we get, I hope we get a percentage of a sell-on fee as well. Because do you know what I mean? If he's another good season, big teams will end up sniffing about him if he does as well next season down there.
Yep.
That's just what I just said, Terence. It's a weird, just different cultures, different countries and stuff like that.
You know, and it's just...
We're reckoning that Raphael Scheidt was going to be a player if he wasn't at Celtic. Unbelievable.
Aye.
South Americans, they don't get over here, but fair play to him. I just thought he had an attitude problem and he was a bad egg, but I know hee-haw, so he's went away over there and he's carving it up, so fair play. And as you say, Ter, if we can get some dough for him and get Lennon Miller in, even better.
Yeah, listen, Celtic are on a win-win with that. Do you know what I mean? The lad wasn't good enough.
Imagine we get 8.5 million for Burnaby, we lose Greg Taylor for nothing, Baye bolts off back to Barcelona and we sign KT for nothing. That's just Peter Lell. That's Peter Lell just...
Aye. Shot she's later on, thank you. Thanks and goodbye. Nah, I don't think that'll happen. But it's interesting to see. I'm hoping that Tisdale. It'd be interesting to see what he's coming up with, and if we've got. Surely to goodness, we're looking for at least a left back and a winger in January, especially with Forrest been out for 6 weeks.
Aye, I mean, but
Palmer's probably gone as well. To be fair, isn't he?
I think Palmer move on in January,
Aye.
definitely.
Evening green smoke.
Evening
But
green
there's
smoke,
another
transfer coming
prime
in, bud.
example though, Mark. Sorry, Mark. There's another prime example of South American that's go over and it's just it's not cutting the mustard. It's just not working out. But would any of the two of you be surprised if he went back to somewhere in South America and all of a sudden you heard he was tearing it up over there? I wouldn't.
I mean,
Palmer.
that's what he's doing. He's doing Palmer.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think Palmer's a decent player. He's got something about him, but he just doesn't seem to fit into a Brendan Rodgers team.
But that's what I'm saying. I could see him going back to South America
aye,
and tearing it up over there. I wouldn't surprise me one iota. Like,
I mean, he does well for the international team anytime he plays for them. Their manager raves about him and just says he needs to get to a team where he's playing more regular. I mean, but I don't know. Me and one of my pals were talking about it one night. Would you compare it to maybe a bit like maybe Rodgers?
yeah, there's a similarities. Like you wouldn't expect him to tackle ever. Like,
Rodgers was a kind of one-off type of player. Do you know what I mean? He was either brilliant or he was rotten, but he was brilliant. There was some of his touches and stuff like that. But I think Palmer definitely. I think he'll get back to wherever he goes and you'll hear about him in a few years and he'll be doing numbers.
He's played in the wrong position. I know you've always said you prefer to see him in the 10.
Well, he's not getting any pace.
Aye, I know.
So you can't play him out in the wing and expect him. Do you know what I mean? When you're coming on to replace Maeda.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? You're coming on to replace a guy that's just constant motion at top level speed.
Yep.
But you can see that he has got technical ability about him and stuff like that. So again, I hope
clubs.
Put a sell-on fee on for him. Do you know what I mean? Make sure we've got a bit of a sell-on fee in there.
Hail, Paul Burrell, if that's your name.
Hail. Thanks for coming in, Paul Burrell, for Castle Milk.
That's somebody that's made up a name of a hun, innit? And just came in here to get him noised right up.
Aye.
Hopefully no. But with the surprise, it's something I made.
No Princess Di's butler. Paul Burrell. He said, I know Princess Di's mad butler guy.
He'd have a few stories, huh?
Aye.
Lucky him at all.
I am sure it is.
Paul Burrell, was it no? Something like that. Hail anyway, my man.
Nah, he's saying he's a Celtic support guy.
Good man.
We're only having a laugh, mate. Honestly, don't take it seriously. We're only having a laugh.
The thing of the boy, the Palmer, I think he'll believe it was James Forrest out for 6 weeks. Surely we're looking at a winger. And as I say, we've said a left back. And if we've got a boy Kenny coming in for the last 6 months of the season, or even just have a look at him, we'll wait and see. Wait and see what's happening. But as I said, I can't believe how good that Burnaby's been playing. But again, sometimes it just doesn't work out for players at clubs. It's not to move elsewhere, it's the kick on.
Look at what is it? Was it if I remember the Uruguayan guy that came in? He was named in the best Lex. Yeah, he was named in the World Cup.
Yep.
Best team of the World Cup. Like,
I know, it's frightening.
And he came to Celtic and he was just he played before the first game or two. You thought, okay, this guy could be serious, and he was like that. He was either really good or just dreadful.
Yep.
And just the same thing. Like it's maybe, as I said, there's such a difference, change in culture and the way they play football and everything about it. It just maybe fellas just can't bet into it. I don't know, but like that's a prime example. One guy that you'd be praying you could put on anyone rather than Burnaby, and now he's over there and he's.
People always saying, would you bring him back and try and play him? I just don't think he wants to be here.
No,
I don't. No, I don't. I think it's best for both. I think it's best for both worlds.
Does that not come down to scouting terms? Does that not come down to a bit poor scouting? Should we not look into if the player's going to be able to handle making that kind of move? And do you know what I mean? Look into. I make it when Burnley came out, it kind of developed a wee bit of a playboy image, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That kind of way, which in
That's the South American way, but is it no?
Aye, but she
I would have thought so, yeah.
But again, what I'm saying is, but with anybody, it's like it came back to the Roy Keane story when he tried to sign Robbie Savage. You know what I mean? He phoned him up with Robbie Savage. It was his answer call was that, mind that daft thing out his, and Roy Keane hung up and done that. Fuck that! I can't sign a guy that does that. And that's why you didn't sign him. But is it like? Should you look deeper into the kind of background of the player and the type of person there and whether they're going to be able to handle it?
Clubs are meant to do that. They're meant to do that. They're due diligence.
Because we can't keep using that as an excuse for these players coming out from South America and failing. If it's a constant thing, obviously you're going to say, well, stop signing players for South America. And it's no work. It's 99 times out of 100. It's no worked out in Scotland unless they've came via some other country. Do you know what I mean? But coming straight up.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what I think, though, Mark. That's what I think they need to go and say, well, okay, look, they should be looking into to go, okay, has he ever played, for argument's sake, has he ever played in Europe? Most of them would want to be in Spain or somewhere like that, or Portugal. Have they been there? Or he was there for a season. Why did he go home? He just couldn't settle. Right, well then there's no point in coming to Scotland where it's going to be lashing out of the heavens. Do you know where it's going to be lashing out of the heavens during the winter months, like
a cold, wet Wednesday playing at Kelly and an Astro or Livingston.
Yeah, you know, then you're kind of going, no, he's leaving there 25 degrees from when his Ares or wherever is to come over there and play a match against Falkirk in the League Cup on a Wednesday night, and it's about 2 degrees. Rain's going sideways, and there's about, you know, I agree with you. They have to look into due diligence in it, Mark. But at the same time, yeah, maybe Celtic just need to go. If they haven't played in Europe before, we can't consider them, because they have enough of a template there to go. We bought this guy, didn't work out. We bought this guy, didn't work out. We bought this guy, didn't work out. The definition of doing stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
The only thing is, Tara, I agree with you, but see if these South Americans go anywhere else in Europe before us,
we can't afford them.
We're not going to be able to afford them, aye.
But at the same time, though, Jerry, we got lucky with this one that he's gone back and he's shone.
Yep.
But the argument is then, do you then risk in the current climate a £5 or £6 or £7 million or on a player that if it does go pear shaped, that you're going to lose? You're basically going to lose majority of that money, if not all the money.
Yeah,
so there's a fine line between the both. Like,
for us, I would stick to going to like look
why go to Scandinavia? Why don't they go to Scandinavia?
Scandinavia's always served us well. So
the Dutch league, the Belgian league.
The Japanese boys would cut the mustard here, to be honest.
Most of them didn't, Jerry. Most of them didn't.
I know. I mean, that's who I was thinking of when we were talking about players that came to Europe and failed. Gucci, I couldn't mind his name. Cheers for that, San Fran. Gucci came, went to Leeds, couldn't hack it, away back to Japan, and then we brought him back out here and couldn't hack it.
No.
But we've got
Kyogo. That's what I'm going to say to him. We've got Kyogo, Maeda, and Hatate. But
they're the first three that came in.
Aye, but look at all the rest of them. All the
rest of them should load at Hibs, is it? Centre mid. Was it St Mirren? What's his name?
Con. No.
Con, aye, that's that.
Aye.
Yeah. Con, Yang.
Who's done no bad in Yang? Maybe, I mean, Yang, I think there's something about Yang. It could, and I think just tease something in them maybe can, but.
Even a Wata.
Well, you know? Aye. No, I mean, the Wata hardly kicked a ball for us.
But this is what I'm saying. The three boys that came in weren't necessarily identified by scouting departments per se. They weren't necessarily identified by the Spurs manager who had known him because of his time there. Now, he probably knew the other guys as well, and he probably was involved in their selection process as well. But for the three that succeeded, all the other boys have failed and failed quite poorly. With Yang, with the slight exception, he's still there and he does okay. But the rest of them were massively surplus to requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They're somebody chatting me about the Scandinavia, all the ones that have went wrong for us, but we've had more success there than
Aye,
anywhere
but
else.
you can say the same. You can say the same thing about. Don't
Scotland.
buy Scottish. Don't buy
Aye.
Scottish players or English players or anything. There's good and bad, but we've done better hits and more success signing Scandinavian players than we have the South American players.
100%,
Well, like
100%.
you've Larson, you've Lustig, you've Mjällby.
Yep.
You know, there's three straight off the bat that you can think of. You've Schmeichel now. You know,
We've done all right from Scandinavia. Johansson, I loved him when he was here.
I liked Johansson. I did.
Aye.
I liked him.
yeah.
See, Ronnie's at that.
Atalanta now. I meant to say that at the start of the show. Aye, fair play to him.
Aye.
You're getting primed for taking her here. What do you think? Jake Rodgers will sign a new deal?
Aye.
I think he will. There's talk about a new 3-year deal. Hopefully they'll announce it just to run up to the Huns game.
Announcing Christmas Day.
Aye, Christmas present to the boys.
What about you, Terence? Do you think it's happening?
I think it will now, yeah, because I think he looks. I think he looks like he's a happy guy. I think he's happy because he seems to be getting what he wants as a manager. He should. There's no reason that Celtic shouldn't, because they're in a position that they can do it. And I think, Mark, as well, that he's obviously in a situation where he has a big say on what happens and who comes in and who goes out. And I think that's what he wanted, obviously, originally the first time round. And I do think he's going to sign a new deal as well. I think he's a lot happier than previous, which is easy to say because he walked out the last time.
I agree. I think he's just content in his job, Terence. I mean, he's not even that old. Do you know what I mean? He's got years in front of him. If he wants to even leave Celtic and move on to
He's always said he wants to go to Spain, isn't he?
Aye. But I mean, I just think he knows that the project, whatever you want to call it, Celtic, he's a integral part of it and a crucial part of it.
Yep.
He knows that now. Do you know what I mean? He's got, as you said, Terence, he seems to have a lot more responsibility in the outgoings and incomings and that. Tisdale's there to take the heat off him with a lot of stuff. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the pressure of the day-to-day fanning about with transfers or whatever kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Leaving Rodgers to work with the players on the training pitch. The club's flying, Champions League, apart from the Dortmund game, we can't really complain. Do you know what I mean? Although I was really disappointed with that last performance a bit, but it is what it is. But everything just seems to be Celtic, and he's just that positive, and he just seems to be that important a part of it, and he knows that now, and he's been appreciated by the fans again, and he's getting it back with the board, which, as you say, Terence, I think that's maybe the most important thing. He knows if Celtic can afford something and he wants to do it, to back him and do it.
Yep.
I think Europe is a big thing as well for him, Mark, because even in his time as Liverpool manager, he, to my knowledge, he failed in regards to Europe. Whereas, obviously, this time round so far, they've done well. Probably should be a little bit better position to where they are, but it's still very much in their own hands. And I think that's something that he wants to obviously improve himself, because up to this stage with Liverpool and Celtic, his European track record was pretty brutal. I
mean, even if we only get to the last 16 of that turn, see if we get.
Well, that's an achievement, Mark.
Aye, that's what I was going to say. See, even if Rodgers is here for the next 4 years, and we get to the last 16 of the Champions League every year, for any manager to do that with a club the size of Celtic, with income we've got against these, because again, it's all against the big power teams when it comes down to the crunch in that Champions League. For somebody to do that kind of proves you're kind of a really top level coach. It really would, and I think that's what he's want to build. As you said, he's want to build his reputation. He doesn't need money now. Do you know what I mean? And as Celtic, the best chance that he's got to build his reputation in Europe? Is he going to? Because he's not going to get a Real Madrid job the new. Do you get what I mean? He's not going to get anything that he's going to be up there challenging to win the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? So as Celtic, the new level that they're willing to back him, is at a level he knows that he can punch above your weight a bit and rebuild that reputation and maybe eventually get to a top level team again.
Well, even to be considered, Mark, for what people perceive and deem the top sides, he's going to need to be able to achieve stuff in Europe with Celtic, because like saying that he's winning the league and stuff like that, you know, they're not going to consider him. But if Celtic are consistently doing well in Europe on, as you said, the budget that they have compared to other teams will be more likely, the bigger sides will be more likely to look at him and go, well, look, he is producing the goods in Europe. Celtic are getting, as you said, to the last 16 of the tournament on a regular basis. You know, he's managed Liverpool and so forth and so forth. Maybe he is worth a punt. You know, so that's where I think it's huge that he continues that he can get into the likes of the last 16 inches in Europe.
I mean, Rodgers, he's only about 51, 52, isn't he?
Yep.
I mean, 51, turns 52 in January. But, I mean, what level, again, turns what you're talking about, like long-term planning, that, how, in 9 years' time, he's only going to be 60-year-old. I mean, and that's no old in this day and age, the way these kind of modern coaches, if they're willing to evolve with the game. So he's got all the years to kind of go and do it and manage whoever he wants to go and manage, whether it's in Spain or whatever. But just to know, and I'm delighted. I mean, we were all a bit wary when he came back and that, but he's proved that all the doubters rang. For me, he's Brendan Rodgers was without doubt the best manager Celtic could have at the helm with him. Out of anybody they knew in the world, I'd say. Obviously realistic, do you get what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
There isn't another manager that Celtic could realistically get that I would rather have than Brendan Rodgers. And I think we're lucky that he is, I mean, I know the part on that, but he is deep down the heart a Celtic supporter, because I know it's a bit nepotism, Irish Celtic supporter, blah, 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 ticks all the boxes. But if he wasn't a Celtic supporter, Brendan Rodgers wouldn't be Celtic manager.
No.
We wouldn't be able to attract a manager as Brendan Rodgers, his pedigree or whatever you want, calibre, if he wasn't a Celtic supporter. We really wouldn't.
Yep. Good.
I mean, even going down the road about how poor the Huns in that are. Do you get what I mean? When Martin O'Neill came up here again, but when Martin O'Neill came up here, if he wasn't a Celtic supporter, but it was a battle with Rangers. Do you know what I mean? Rodgers is up here. The battle with Rangers is one. He's wanted to take the battle to Europe for us now. That's the next one. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think there's another manager we could get out there that I'd prefer than now. I really wouldn't.
I agree with you, mate.
That's my Christmas message.
No, it's fair play. You know, I made no secret that I was against him coming back, but look, he's done a fantastic job. Like that, he's probably done as good. You know, would anyone else have done any better for what the level Celtic would have got as a manager? Probably not. So, like you, Mark, I'm delighted that Rodgers is achieving what he's achieving. You know, at the end of the day, he's a Celtic manager, and whether I wanted him back or didn't want him back, he was back. But he's done the business so far, so I can't argue one bit with it.
And are you looking forward to the future under him, Terence?
I am, because
are you excited and kind of hang about what Celtic could be doing in the next couple of years?
I'm excited and looking forward to it, particularly with the European side of things, Mark. And I'm looking forward to that. I also feel Celtic have turned the corner in regards to transfers. Whether rightly or wrongly, or like people say, but like the Engels 11 million, to me that's a really positive step in the right direction. You know, and Rodgers to me is obviously a huge driving force behind that, along with the likes of the Michael Nichols and the people who deal with that on the board. But they're obviously decided, well, we need to push this forward. And they're getting the results in Europe. As I said, they're in. I think they're 20th or 21st at the minute in the table. I said it's in their own hands. But I do think Rodgers has a blueprint for himself to go, this is where I want to see Celtic in 3 years' time or 4 years' time, whatever. So yeah, you have to be, as a Celtic fan, excited with the manager and the position the club's in, the financial position the club's in, the strength the club is in, the squad the club have. There's nothing to be disappointed about at the minute, so it's great. Like,
what about you, Jerry?
I couldn't agree more with what Ters said. I think we wouldn't have won the league last season if we had anybody else in charge apart from Brendan. I think getting control of what he's wanting to do and the way he's wanting to play and all the rest of it, I think, as you've said, we've got the best manager we could possibly have got. At the time, did I want him back? Probably not. I'd have took the boy Maresca. However, I think we were all just kind of not wanting him back for the way he left previously. But again, we don't know what happened. And he was getting shortchanged by Lowell. So it was definitely a power struggle. So I think going forward, I think he's getting what he wants. He realises what he can build here and how he can be remembered. And that if we can, I mean, it's asking a lot to get to that last 16. Even a couple of times over the next few years, once or twice, it'll be a fantastic achievement, and it's shown that progression. He's always said that he wanted to be kind of do something with us in Europe. So I know I'm happy with it. As I say, we've got a good team, right age, and all the rest of it, and he's looking to improve it. So no, I think it's all positive.
I don't think after a week we've had laughing at them and that as well, it's just everything's just kind of fallen into place, isn't it?
Yep. Tell us this, Marco. Going back to when Martin O'Neill came, you go back to that kind of era. It was brilliant. I mean, we had a strong team, and so did the Monkeys. But you're looking back when O'Neill came in and the way things are to where we are now, thinking about the trophies that we won. Did you think in your lifetime realistically we would overtake them with the amount of trophies?
No, never.
No, there's nobody.
I mean, you've
thought
got
it would happen either.
Mind as well, Jerry, when Martin O'Neill came in, we took out a bank loan to bankroll that.
20 million.
Aye, that we only paid off a couple of years ago.
That's at the co-op with it.
Aye. Do you know what I mean?
So,
it's like, never. But see the thing, I mean, it was, to be honest with you, Jerry, it was nothing that ever kind of entered people's head. See this kind of, aye. And it never came into any kind of existence to all this part of 2012 and all that with the greatest club. Did you see what they done the day?
But they take doing that world's greatest
club?
No,
what was it that came up on the screen the day? For the world's best stadium. That's what came up as a graphic on the screen the day. For the world's best stadium. It was like Rangers v Dundee. Underneath it instead of but do you know what I mean? Like where it's do you get what I mean? A graphic for the world's best stadium.
Aye.
That's what they're clinging to. But no, but I mean, it wasn't really a thing you kind of paid much attention to until all this carried on in 2012 and the survival myth and all this part.
Aye. As I say, it's the strides we've made. I mean, these are fantastic times to be a Celtic fan.
You could never imagine this, Jerry.
No.
See when Martin O'Neill was fighting against Dick Advocat. Was Advocat at the time, wasn't it?
Aye.
And all that. It was never. I've just always thought. I mean, back then we nobody understood that David Murray was doing what he was doing with the money or whatever it was and all this part. And it was just they were spending money and Celtic were spending money trying to keep up with them.
Yep.
But I just thought this was that's just going to be hit. We'll win the league a couple of years. They'll win it a couple of years. We'll win it a couple of years. they'll win a cup. Do you get? I thought that was just
Aye.
going to be for the rest of my life kind of thing.
Yep.
Just that was going to just be what the status quo was. I never thought after we stopped their bid for 10 in a row, I never thought we'd have seen any other team going for like a 9 in a row. I never even thought we'd have seen any team going for probably 5 in a row, to be honest with you, back then.
Aye. Yep.
I just thought that was just going to be swings and roundabouts, year by year, maybe even a year they win it, and then the next year we win it. But there was never going to be any kind of major dominance again in Scottish football. I never saw that for either side back then.
There was nothing between the sides back then.
No,
there was very, very little between the sides. Just going to say that, Jerry, there were two excellent sides, and there was some seriously good players on their side. Like I always thought Jermaine Kloss in goals was a fabulous goalkeeper.
They've always had a really good goalkeeper. That's been their thing. But
I always thought he was a superb keeper. But back then there was excellent players on both sides.
It stretched the games. The disparity between the teams now and all over European football is frightening, from the top to the bottom. I mean, there is no way we could have had a team that level now, with the likes of Suttons, Larsons, Lennons, Hartsons,
Lambert.
I mean, it's looking back
Tom
now.
Boyd.
Didier Agat. It's not, you look back, you think, wow, what a team we actually had playing week in, week out, and some of the European adventures. I mean, we've rode our luck in Europe at times this season, but you think back to some of the Neil games, you think we should have had a lot more luck than we had. It was terrible, some of the way things went. I mean, remember one season we get 9 or 10 points and still never went through. One of the group stage games. It's then obviously the UEFA Cup final. We never had much luck, so that's how when we get this luck in, we rode the storm against Atalanta and came out the other end. You can't know how it gives that wee bit of luck in Europe. But as I say, from where we've came at the turn of the century to now, the strides we've made, it's been unreal. And again, that's how some of the younger fans that take this for granted and want to play the Celtic way and think this is the way it's always been, they need to cherish these moments, these times.
And I've said it as well, by the way, people, you've got to give credit to, I mean, guys even like Peter Lowell and that, we've gave them dogs abuse over the years, but we wouldn't be, either made mistakes, but we wouldn't be where we were today. We could be further forward, but we'll get there. But they guys still made the hard decisions when they needed to be made to get us where we are today.
Yep.
It's like in the last 24 years, like how many... sorry, Jerry. In the last 24 years, since I said Martin O'Neill's come in, they must have won 18 of the titles out of 24, did they? Something like that, I imagine.
Aye, it's Terence. I think that's what it is, aye.
And some of them were...
And even what Rodgers said the other day, that we've bulked this club up. We've no need it. We've no need it. I fear dues Dermot Desmond's bunged in the odd maybe we sponsored to top up a manager's wages and stuff like that. But every penny Celtic that's been earned, that's came for the fans and the supporters. Do you know what I mean? All the money that they've pumped into the club.
But at the same time, Mark, that's fine. They're all bumping their gums about saying that. But they have shareholders that are pumping money in left, right, and centre to keep them basically afloat.
So there's sheer confetti things the other day for £8 million to keep the lights on. So they can argue and say that X, Y, and Z Celtic have this and that. It was no one caused them to get relegated but themselves.
No, they were never relegated.
No, I know relegated.
They disbanded. So right, okay. They went into liquidation, all of their own making. All of their own making. Mm-hmm. No one else had to do with it. They can bump their gums on all they want about saying, well, Celtic won X, Y, and Z titles because we weren't in the league and we were this kind. They won 9 titles in a row by not doing what was sport and integrity. They went outside the rules of the game. So they can bump the gums all they want. They went down or liquidated all because of their own, all of their own making, no one else's. And they can argue that Celtic have this and Celtic have that, like their manager is with we've got more money than they've got more money than us, this and that, like that, because Celtic have earned it. And if Celtic had actually invested or taken a chance beforehand, they could be even further ahead, because the time when they had the 9 league titles in a row, they probably qualified for the Champions League probably 3 times.
Is that your microwave dinner ready, Marco?
No.
No, I thought you had the eating there.
I said there was a dishwasher behind me, Terry.
Try to work the. Alright, I thought it was trying to work the new fridge freezer.
If Patrick got your turns, 41 trophies
41
they've won
trophies,
since June 2000.
There you go. And how many? What was available? Probably would there be 55?
See the
24.
we can still remember
69 maybe 23 times 3.
Aye, good shout, Marco. See you can still, all the older ones will still remember every time Celtic put down a 5 or we'll put down a 10er, as if it was yesterday. They were playing the short game. Celtic have played the long game. We're building the club up the way they have, long term, and that's what's going to let us go from strength to strength. They were going short term, chasing the dream of trying to catch your big cup win, and it snookered them. And it's always going to be the one that gets away.
The masterstroke for Fergus was building the bigger stadium.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? That gave us a financial advantage right away that they couldn't match without cheating. I mean, that's what they've done. You know what I mean? And Celtic should have, when that all happened and all came out in 2012, Celtic and the rest of Scottish football should maybe have dealt with things a bit better and pushed for even a change in rules. How brought in with any kind of financial fair play regulations even back then, because that would have been a great time for a bit of kind of reform to the Scottish game and a bit of modernisation, but we dropped the ball with that. But as you said, Jerry, they were just there for it was like built in sand. It was built in sand.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we struggled by and watched them winning trophies, and it's a bitter pill. And Strangelove keeps going on about how they cheated to keep up with us, and that's what they did today. And now that they can't cheat, they can't keep up with us.
Yep.
And that's what they need to realise. There's absolutely nothing that they can do to swing this about. Absolutely hee-haw. Elon Musk could buy them the Mora, and that doesn't even mean that they can outspend Celtic, because
we could Presbyterian pal Donald.
But under these, and that's how there's cost cutting, and there'll be more cost cutting at Ibrox, because under the new UEFA rules, you're only allowed to spend 70% of what you bring in. And we're wiping the floor with them between ticket sales and sponsorships, you name it. Do you know what I mean? They can't touch us. We've got, I think I read somewhere before there's even a ball kicked in a season, we've got £26 million more than them. And that's not that. And I mean, in Scotland, that's a. Do you know what I mean? And the actual landscape of Scottish football, that's
it's frightening.
Until they changed, I mean, they think that just because they see a player or a newspaper says a player's worth £20 million, that's what they're going to get from. They think that's what it takes. Celtic just name their prices in a paper, and the next thing that's what they get. I mean, that shows you the mentality of these people. Celtic's got a reputation of producing good quality players. Do you think scouts that watch Celtic's players say, "Oh, he's a cracking player"? I'll check the Daily Record and see how much they're saying he's worth. Do you know what I mean? They think they just need to name a player. This is a Igumani or something like that. So he scored 2 league goals. He scored 2 league goals, and they're talking about £20 million for him.
Aye, but they remind him of R9. R9 Ronaldo.
No, was it no Drogba?
Oh, is it
Somebody
him
no
now as well? Is it
compare-
a mixture? Maybe it's a
I think
mixture of both.
somebody compared them to Drogba, the way you chest the ball down or some shit like that. I saw the other day, and you're like, what?
Fucking
That's
hell,
that
man. The way he
20
wears
million,
these socks.
£20 million definitely.
Oh, you can't legislate for these simpletons. Blame the schools. They're no wired up right, mate. You just let them flap their gums and get on with it. I mean, it's just you can't. As I say, it's 119. Get it up them. So that boy Igamami, I don't know where they've signed him.
Are you confident of a treble?
No.
No.
I'm extremely confident in a treble.
I'm extremely confident. You're a prick.
I don't know, Marco. I was thinking about last Sunday when the rosary beads out in the walk before I went to the chapel, thinking that bastard's jinxed us by saying that we'll not get beaten, we'll be gone for the treble. I don't know. What these one-off games, you never know.
Aye.
I didn't want to play them in the final. I said that to you when it was Motherwell game. I'd have preferred Motherwell in case it sparked them into life winning this cup game. But it's brilliant laughing at them. It's the best thing on earth. I enjoy laughing at them more than anything else. So treble, I don't know. I'll take a game by game. We'll see what happens. What about yourself, Ter? What are you thinking?
Well, I know we're the only ones that can win a treble. So, but no, I'd be honest. Something like that. You might think of it for when they win the League Cup, but like that, just the Scottish Cup, for argument's sake, like if it meant that Celtic got the League Cup and they won the league, and they didn't win the Scottish Cup, but I'd be disappointed. Yeah, you'd be disappointed, but you got the main thing, got the league. Once they don't win once it's not them winning the cup, it wouldn't bother me. Do you know what I mean? Of course, you'd like to win it, but like. Yeah, like
that's the thing in Scotland. That's the thing in Scotland. Terence, if we don't win it, there's a chance they win it, and that's you definitely don't want that to happen.
Yeah, but it's like Jerry said though. When it comes to a cup game, you know, you could get that sticky game away, Kilmarnock, Ross County, for argument's sake, something like that, and on the day where it just doesn't click in. And all of a sudden, then you're on the end of a weird result, and that's it. We've all seen plenty of them. You know what I mean? So, you'd love for them to win the treble, but you alluded to there a while ago, Mark. Like when you remember, like Celtic hadn't won a treble, said only something like won one treble by the time Martin O'Neill came in or something like that.
Aye.
So maybe we have to, in a sense, taper it because. Like you were saying about the younger generation that has been supporting Celtic, they've seen them win four trebles in a row. Celtic had one treble before Martin O'Neill came in. So it's not as easy as people may think to win the treble. But yeah, look, they're the only ones that can obviously do it. And of course you'd love to see them do it. But
I just think the squad, the balance that we've got in the squad and that, the new Terence, I think it's just...
Oh, the balance in the squad is fantastic, Mark, but it doesn't, like, you could go out and have a day where a couple of players have a mare, you get a couple of ropey decisions against you, you get a couple of questionable calls, and all of a sudden you lose the game 2-1 above Ross County, for argument's sake. I can't see Celtic getting knocked out at home. I can see them if Celtic are going to lose a cup match, it's going to be away. I can't see them losing the game at home.
No, the only way they'll lose it's in the final. We'll get to the final. It's the only time we'll lose it's the final.
That's a bold in there, Jerry boy.
No, we'll get to the final, 100%.
I mean, as you say, Terence, treble, and we kind of throw it about as if it's a kind of a right now because do you know what I mean? We're the big dogs in Scottish football. We should be winning every trophy, but it's a hard thing to do because it's real. I mean, apart from us recently, it's not been done that often, but I just think the squad we've got the news. It's just that many you could take ex-player out and you're no drama level of player Terence anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Because we've got guys like McCowan and that to come in rather than but the kind of guys we've had there the last few seasons coming off the bench. And so even when it is cup games, I think every team of Rodgers will be out there fighting and battling 100% and just be too strong for anybody else.
But I'm not disputing that, Mark, and I get where you're coming from. No question about it.
You can always get a upset in the cup. Aye,
You
definitely.
could get an upset in the cup. You could get a freak decision that you think, how did that go? The way, like, for argument's sake, under Ronnie's time, where you manhandled the ball on the edge of the box against, or on the line against Inverness. There was a goal line referee. You know, never given 10 minutes.
Whatever happened to the referees?
I'd say that's where they have VAR in.
They get promotion in the lodge.
Yeah, but then
they used to stick. I mean, there was referees like just standing next to the goals for a couple of seasons.
Aye.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But 10 minutes later, then I'm just using an example. 10 minutes later, then Fraser Foster gets sent off and they get a penalty, and all of a sudden, instead of being 2-0 up, it's 1-1 and a man down. That's just what I'm trying to use as an example. That you mightn't just get the rub of the green on the day. That's the good thing and the bad thing about the cups. You know, they know if Celtic are away to Ross County or Kilmarnock or something, they know this is their final. They can go gung ho at Celtic, and you know what I mean. It's not a 3 points, or it's not a relegation, and sometimes it can just go against you. That's all I'm saying.
So do you think we win the treble there?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And then I do. But it'll be. It's always tough. It's a lot of games to win.
Yep.
I'll be happy just to get through the league undefeated.
Aye, so would I. I'd take that.
An invincible treble. Will we go for that?
An invincible treble sounds fantastic. Aye.
But sure, that's already been done. There's no point, doing it again.
Yeah. Right, guys, I'm going to need to shoot and take
we'll bring that up anyway. The time there, boys.
Me too. Yeah, I'm going to blow it up.
Have a good Christmas and thanks for listening. All right, God bless. Take care.
Right.
119.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, Jerry.
Right.
Been emotional.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
coming on, bud. Catch you
Take
later,
care,
mate.
Mark.
Right, good night to you.
Take care. All the best to yourself and Jack. Yeah, have a good one.
Same to you. I'll speak to you later on. Right. Good night.
Good night, boys. Bye.
Thanks everybody that listened in. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for Terence and Jerry for coming on. I'll not be on before Christmas now, but hopefully you have a nice Christmas. Enjoy yourselves, your family. Have a nice time with your families and that, and I hope Santa's good to you. So we'll be back. We'll probably be back before the next Derby game anyway, right? Hail, lads. Good night, God bless, and Merry Christmas.